Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary alongside Rise, who has risen to notoriety recently with his quirky and I won't say eccentric, but definitely exciting commentaries. But we are doing a dual commentary here in a in a Shinhan Bank Winners League matchup between CJ Entus and Team Estro, and CJ Entus have been forced to throw Savior into the fray, and I wonder what the story is with the air conditioning in those boots these days, right? Savior seems to just have his jacket on, or is he simply wearing that jacket to hide the 5 knives he's carrying under it, which he's going to use to butcher his opponent should he happen to lose in StarCraft?
You know, I gotta say, it probably is a little chilly in there. You know, he's had a tough time in the past, and now he is finally coming back to his better form. So hopefully he doesn't need to use the knives that he is most likely hiding, but I'm sure we'll see some great play. Of course, the players do usually wear those jackets to try to stay warm and keep their hands moving, but and some players have hand warmers that they use. These two players, of course, are going to be playing on Rush Hour 3. Rush Hour 3 is a 3-player map, and this map is slightly favored towards Terran with a over 60% win rate for Terran versus Zerg. So Savior may have his work cut out for him going against a player like Sea.Really, who, as of recently, is on a 2-game winning streak. That's right. So Sea.Really on a bit of a roll here. We'll have to see if Savior is able to overcome this, both the roll that Sea.Really is on, as well as the slight map imbalance that favors Terran.
Yeah, this is going to be huge, and I think this is really important for Sea.Really right here. This is really important for Sea.Really, really important. He's managed to win a couple of games. I think he's gotten lucky in both games to an extent. Iris would have had him beat, but for that harass that went off so spectacularly, and there wasn't a lot of skill in that harass. It wasn't like he was microing those vultures around brilliantly, or he was using one vulture nana style to kill 10 marines and then take out an entire base on its own. It was attack move vulture harass, but at the same time, you know, he gets credit for it. And then he played on destination against a Protoss player who tried a couple of tricks, didn't pull them off, and again managed to secure a comfortable victory. I don't think he's going to have an easy time of it against Savior, though. Savior is not going to give him any easy breaks. In the form that Savior's in, Sea.Really is really going to have to produce the goods to be able to come up with the victory, even on a map that seems to be favoring Terrans. I don't think the kind of form Savior is in right now, it doesn't seem to make a difference. These kind of things don't seem to make a difference, and it looks like Savior is going for a 12 pool. And I'm not sure if Savior's initial scout went in the right direction. I think it's not gone in the correct direction. It looks like Savior's sending a drone out to make up for that, and the drone is going to cross paths with Sea.Really's SCV, which is going to give Savior an idea. And Sea.Really trying to block Savior's drone, doing a good job of it, doing a little bit of damage, but that drone's probably going to recover his hit points by the time it gets across. So this is the chance for Sea.Really to really establish himself by beating Savior here.
Yeah, so I guess the question is Sea.Really going to go for a quick expansion or a 2 racks build? Right off the bat, I imagine that we're going to see a 1 racks into expansion based off the fact that the second racks isn't going up yet, although I might be off on that timing a little bit. On the other hand, it looks like Savior's got those 2 hatcheries down. His pool is going up, so I'm sure that Savior will be pumping out a few links to try to do some harassment. In the meantime, we have a scout in Savior's base, which is, I think, delaying Savior from putting down what looked to be a 3rd hatchery, or maybe he's just trying to attack that SCV, but for a minute there it looked like he was trying to put down a 3rd hatchery. There is the fast expansion from really the Terran player, and oh, look at Savior, very quick reaction, trying to put down the 1 hatchery with one of his drones and instantly putting it down with the other, so the SCV could of course only distract one of them from doing so. And now it looks like really is he pushing forward with a Marine to try to do some damage? I thought I saw him traveling around to try to, I don't know what he was doing with those Marines. And there is the second barrack, so it looks like he is going to go into a standard medic Marine build instead of some of the mech builds that we have been seeing a lot as of lately. And so Savior, if he gets some lings out, he may be able to do some damage to that expansion.
Yeah, and Sea.Really still having the SCV harassing around scouting in Savior's base, but Savior's done a good job to damage that SCV quite a lot, to the point where he only needs a single hit to finish it off, and it looks like he's sending a link to scout back. I'm not sure what was the purpose of sending that Marine out was, and I'm worried that really might have actually left his ramp unprotected. Okay, he does have 3 Marines there, because Savior is sending a Zergling to try and sneak past. He has at least gotten the scout and seen the natural expo taken by Really, and it was an obvious move by Really, considering that he saw Savior's 12 hatch build. When he got his SCV in, he saw the late pool, he realized that Savior's got 12 hatch, hatch. Obviously, seeing the expansion, he realized Savior has gone 12 hatch, and he immediately put his command center down. Had Savior not gone 12 hatch, he would have still had the option at that stage with the timing of his scout to change his plan and maybe put another racks down beforehand if Savior was trying anything cute. So really kept his options open, and I think that was relatively clever play by him. But both players have made fairly standard openings that I guess balance out against each other quite well, and it's just a question of who's going to be able to execute their attacks better now, and it's going to be interesting. Savior's with his lair building.
Well, it should be said that Savior has been playing well lately, and so right off the bat, I think I'd give him a little bit of an advantage here, though, of course, really has been getting a lot of luck on his side and managing to beat players that I didn't think he was going to be able to beat, Movie included. I didn't think that he was going to beat Movie, to be honest. Another scout getting into the natural, but not into the main base of Savior, so it looks like he's going to have to wait until that comm stat is up to see that Aspire is going down for Savior. So we are going to see 3-hatch Muta coming from Savior, and of course, Savior, a great Muta microer, and we'll have to see if he's able to do some crazy damage with that. And Savior now putting down a couple of Sunkens at his natural to make sure that he's able to protect it. And now here's the issue with this map: the naturals are so exposed. There's such a wide range of attack possibilities that a player can make against them. You know, they're open from, like, I think 100 and almost 180 degrees of it is open, maybe 150 degrees worth of open attack space. So Savior going to be have to be very careful with his sunken placement, and that could be the name of the game here. And Savior, at the same time, while he sees that the units for Really are out, he's trying to do some harassment. He's going to get in the base. He's going to be able to get a full scout in here. He's got one Ling in the base. He's going to be able to see what exactly is going on, and this may help him for his future Mutalisk harass if that's what he does end up doing.
Yeah, and you can see that Savior's put his Sunkens right next to his natural expo, right next to the hatchery, and usually the Zerg player doesn't do that. He tries to push those Sunkens out a little bit further to buy himself the time, because he doesn't want to be in a position where when the Terran player makes his tank push that he can seize the Sunkens and the hatchery at the same time. But because of the nature of the map, he's had to put the Sunkens right next to the hatchery for defense, and that is a huge disadvantage for a Zerg player in a long-term game. And you can see why, again, it's another map that is imbalanced in favor of Terran players, at least versus Zerg players. I'm not sure of the statistics for Protoss players. Savior doing a good job though of harassing, killing the occasional odd Marine, picking them off with pairs of Zerglings. I mean, that's quite brilliant play by him. It's just whittling down his opponent's force a little bit and constantly getting that Zergling in to get the scout in. And Sea.Really still hasn't put up any turrets in his main. Savior's Spire should be almost up by now if it isn't up already, and I'm surprised to not see. I'm pretty sure I saw an engineering bib go up for Sea.Really. Savior almost managed to pick off an SCV as well with the Zerglings. Savior continuing with those speed upgrade Zerglings to just marauder on the map. He's got his Mutalisk out as well, and looks like Savior might be going for a Mutaling attack against Sea.Really, and I'm not sure if Sea.Really is fully prepared for this. He doesn't seem to have a large medic and marine group stationed anywhere. Savior seems to have kept him distracted on the back foot, and Sea.Really might fight. Sea.Really does have his medic and marine group. He has it in the middle of the map, but if Savior can actually use his... Okay, Sea.Really does have two medical marine groups. I just hadn't seen them. One at his natural expo and another on the ramp. So he is anticipating these Mutalisks, and he's now getting those turrets up primarily at his natural. And I think it's worth it for the Zerg player to get those Mutalisks out simply to force the Terran player to go into his shell a little bit. And Savior doing the right thing, taking that third expansion at the top left-hand corner of the map. But Sea.Really's got an SCV in place to see it, so that's definitely going to hurt Savior a little bit. And Savior now coming in with a Mutalisk harass, trying to pick off some SCVs. He picks up a couple of SCVs and manages to get there without losing a single Mutalisk. He almost took out a Marine there. He does get a final kill on the Marine before ushering out. So Savior with some great Mutalisk harass, using the Mutalisk harass, and as I said, I think it's worth going for the 3-hatch Mutas simply to put the Terran on the back foot, make him spend minerals on turrets, and obviously he was going to get the engineering bay anyway for the upgrades, but make him spend minerals on the turrets, and also give yourself a chance to get that third gas up and running.
Yeah, but it is so important. If he can do some economic damage, he will be in a great position to really take this match. And right now, with the turret force and the medic marine force that really has out on the map, he's going to have a tough time doing that. So Savior, he's got to get that new base up and running. He's got to keep it protected. If that goes down and Sea.Really is able to manage to inflict enough damage to it, he will be in a lot of trouble, really. And now Hydra's out, so we're going to see a tech switch to Lurkers. At the same time, a Queen's Nest going down. So I guess he's considering moving to Hive Tech, although of course there's a possibility that he's been watching Jaedong play and taking a cue from him. He may go Queens, which I would love to see. I love Queens and Ensnare. That's just such a deadly combo when they can pull it off correctly. And now we see some Lurkers morphing, and he's going to be able to probably defend that new base without much of a problem, just putting a couple of those Lurkers on the ramp if he manages to get them there in time anyway. And he's just doing a great job of delaying with those muted, using the ledges to his advantage. advantage, and it looks like he is going to get there just in time, maybe a little bit before just in time. And at the same time, now that those units are out and looking to harass Savior's new base, he's going to be able to transfer, going to continue to harass with those mutant. At the same time, he's going to transfer his drones just in time again and be able to deal with that no problem. And now those Lings are back out on the map, and it looks like he may be considering a pincer. He's got Mutaling and Lurker, so he could be setting up for a main frontal assault as well. It looks like that Science Vessel has come out, so he is going to be able to get a radiate off on that group of Muta if those Muta wander a little bit too close to it. And so now Savior now he's trying to defend on two fronts, and this is where we're going to see Savior put to the test. Can he defend both fronts sufficiently against Really's forces while continuing to harass to ensure victory in this game?
Yeah, great play by Savior. He saw that his Hydralisk had been scouted by the SCV, so he immediately morphed them to Lurkers on the spot, realizing that he was running out of time and that he didn't really have the time to move the Hydralisk over. I think Lurkers might move slightly faster than unupgraded Hydralisk, though I'm not sure of that. I'm just guessing. It's probably wrong as well. But he was clever of him to morph, and he is going for the Greater Spire. So Savior is going for the Greater Spire. Oh. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for him. We saw Jadon go for it, and it didn't pay out for him at all. It'll be interesting to see if Savior, but Savior is also getting the Defiler's mount, so he's not going to rely solely on the Greater Spire, and I think that's smart. I think it's a great idea to get the Guardians, and Savior's going to have the Guardians out fairly early, but he's going to need more than just the Guardians. Meanwhile, he needs to do something about these Science Vessels, and it looks like Really is ready to push out and try and do some damage against, and he's got siege tanks as well. So Savior's gonna have a tough time holding this base now with just the two lurkers, with the siege tanks and the science vessel. And Savior cleverly burying the lurkers on top of each other to try and avoid the radiate. But now with the siege tanks in siege mode, Savior's gonna have a hugely difficult time defending this expansion at the 11 o'clock position. Really is coming up in there. Savior's getting the Greater Spire up, and that's what he's gonna try and rely on to defend. But I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to get those Guardians up in time. Savior doing a good job of microing those lurkers back inch by inch, forcing Sea.Really to really crawl up that ramp, and he's delaying them as much as possible. But he's going to lose a couple of his lurkers now. The first lurker goes down. Sea.Really manages to try and get the Marines up, and Sea.Really coming up with the Marines. Savior's obviously morphing to Guardians at this point, so he doesn't have his Mutalisks to support his lurkers. He's got about 3 Mutalisks. He's got 4 lurkers. He's got oh my god, he's got a Nidus Canal. Savior has a Nidus, and he manages to bring 6 lurkers out, and that's gonna delay his opponent enough. And the big difference between what Jadon did and what Savior did is that Savior's got those Guardians out so much earlier. It's not like his opponent has got 4 science vessels waiting for his Guardians. When Jadon got his Guardians out, his opponent Flash already had like 4 science vessels, whereas Really only has the 1 science vessel, and that makes all the difference. But we're sure Really's going to be pumping out more science vessels, and Savior's going to have to do something about taking them out as well if he wants to make use of these Guardians at all. But Savior has now held his defense. He's got lurkers, he's got Guardians, and he has got a good chance of being able to inflict some damage on Really now.
I love this play from Savior because he realizes that he's trying to defend on 2 fronts, and he gets that hive tech right away, and the first thing he does, he puts down a Nidus Canal, and it showed how it worth its weight in gold. I mean, able to reinforce with 6 lurkers right off the bat, and now he's able to bring those 6 lurkers right back to his main base to hold off there. The only thing that he's got going against him right now is the slow pace of those guards, but what he is able to do is a little bit of a pincer here. Now, my only concern about guards is they never tend to be as effective as players seem to think they will be, and Irradiate going off on those lurkers, those defilers, and those defilers not able to get off any swarms in time, but those Guardians are cleaning up all the Marines in the back base. And here we see at the same time Really is doing a good job of harassing a new base, a new expansion of Savior as he tries to put it up, and he is attacking on 2 fronts, but Dark Swarm now protecting the main base. At the same time, he'll be able to probably reinforce his other base very shortly after defending this base, although he's lost a lot of ground units, so he's not going to have the mobility factor with his Guardians, of course, because they're so slow. So one thing working against Savior is the fact that those Guardians are so slow. Great Dark Swarm, though, getting lurkers right in the middle of the swarm, right in the middle of the unison. Oh, the Nidus goes down! That means he's going to have a very difficult time trying to reinforce it. At this point, he does, however, have another Defiler there. If he can consume a couple of drones, he'll be able to Dark Swarm a little bit more and use those lurkers to full benefit, and he's delaying just enough to get those guards back in the game and do some more damage over here. So he should be able to defend this from Sea.Really without too much of a problem. And if he needs to, he can always swarm over his drones. And now Link's coming in to clean this up, and Science Vessel's getting some irradiates out on those guards. So now we see the weakness of the guards against these Science Vessels. And oh man, poor micro by Savior going right over his drones with his irradiated guard and running into his other guards, losing more units than he needed to, and Really is continuing to push back into the main base of Savior at the same time, having units positioned positioned in the middle of the map. So Savior, I feel, is on his heels at this point.
Yeah, really is inflicting a lot of damage on Savior and continuing to attack. Savior still has kept most of those Guardians alive because really hasn't for some reason been able to build up a large science vessel fleet. But he's now got about 3 or 4 science vessels. Savior is now trying to take the National Expo of the 11 o'clock expansion. And Savior, with just the Guardians, forces the command center to lift a bit. The key thing that happened in that battle with Sea.Really got into Savior's base is that Sea.Really killed Savior's extractor. So Savior momentarily down to 2 gas, and that's going to hurt him big time because he's on such a gas heavy build. He's now getting that Nidus back up, but he did manage to hold the defense, and the key was that he managed to get a few Zerglings through, which he used to kill the siege tank. So Sea.Really, without the siege tank, wasn't able to take the base down, wasn't able to inflict a lot more damage. Now Sea.Really's got a couple of Scourges, and he managed to get a surprise kill on one of the science vessels, because up till now, Sea.Really's science vessels have been wandering the map with impunity, going wherever they want, attacking whatever they want, and that just wasn't suiting Savior at all. So finally he started to bring some Scourges out. And you can just see how effective that is. Sage, and a decent plague by the Defiler on a couple of Marines. And looks like he's trying to gear up for another plague on a Swarm. He gets a Swarm off just to hold the defense in time of that Expo that he's taken at the 12 o'clock base. Meanwhile, and this is, even though I don't like this map and I feel it's a little bit unbalanced, you can just see the potential for some great Zerg play and a great plague from Savior, catching loads and loads of Marines. Meanwhile, we've got Wraith coming out for Sea.Really. He's going to probably mop up the rest of the Guardians, but Savior with a fantastic play. But I think at this stage, the Guardians have served their purpose for Savior. He's trying to conserve them, but he needs a couple of Scourges out, and he's trying to pull the Guardians back. My feeling is because he's going to have a couple of Scourge popping out from that hatchery. And Sea.Really is playing well as well, because when he got into Savior's Savior's Expo at the 11 o'clock base, the first thing he did was take the Nidus down to prevent reinforcements coming in. But Savior has since rebuilt that Nidus. He doesn't have Scourge coming out. He needs a couple of Surge, a couple of dropships down from Sea.Really as well, heading down. And Sea.Really is putting the pressure on Savior. Savior is holding and defending well, and he's managed to get another expansion down at the 12 o'clock position and hold that defense as well. But now Savior's going to be a little bit of trouble, because 2 dropships worth of units are going to be dropping right on top, along with reinforcements coming in from the middle as well. So they're trying to distract from the front and drop at the back. Savior, though, does have 4 Sun Guns to hold the dropship attack, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Savior's going to be able to defend this. Decent Scourge again. Savior managed to catch Sea.Really's Medic and Marine group with a plague, and looks like Saviour's now trying to counter with the Lurkers, but this is careless by Savior. He's going to lose a couple of Lurkers and his Defilers. He's lost the 2 Lurkers and the Defilers, so this is definitely not Savior back to his omniscient and almost omnipresent best. A little bit lax on the multitasking, and he is having to defend on all fronts here, and you're seeing both players' multitasking skills tested to the very limit, because they're having to fight 3 or 4 simultaneous battles all over the map. But Savior has now got those Ultralists, and you can just feel the pendulum slowly but surely bending Savior's way, Savior bending it to his will, and really I think needs to inflict a little bit more economic damage on Savior before Savior really gets his upper level tech kicking into maximum overdrive, and now using the Vultures in anticipation of the Ultralists to plant spider mines around the map.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, Savior's doing a very good job of holding this off, but I still feel like really he's just doing a great job of keeping him on his toes. He's having a very difficult time getting any more expansions down. He's got 4 bases, which is great for Ultras, and those Ultras are attacking Marines out in the middle of the map, so Sea.Really is going to be forced to pull those back. But look at that large force that he's got going into the main base, and there's no Nidus there at all, which means that he doesn't lose a science vessel, but that means that there will be no reinforcements in time, so Savior is going to lose that entire base. There's no way he'll be able to hold that. He doesn't have any units to deal with that, and at the same time, Sea.Really has a ton of units back in his main, so he's able to handle any counterattack that might be coming from Savior. So Savior going to lose that hatchery. That's going to go down, and it looks like he's got a couple of Ultras that he was thinking about setting there. These dropships are back out in the middle of the field, and those dropships going to do a lot of damage. Oh, look at this. Savior actually with enough Ultralists, it looks like he is going to be able to take this out. Sea.Really is not focusing. Yes, now he is focusing on the hatchery. He takes it down. The hatchery goes down, and while there are a lot of Ultras there, he has lost one of his mining capabilities, and look at that. The dropship's taken out by Savior, so Savior is doing a good job of taking out the mobility factor that we're seeing from Really, but at the cost of what? Losing one of his bases. We're now seeing 3 bases to 3 bases, which is certainly not a good thing for a Zerg player to be going up against, and really at this moment it looks like Sea.Really, if he can hold this advantage that he has and keep Savior from going any more bases, Savior is going to be in a lot of trouble. But those Ultras are well upgraded. With a 2-4 upgrade, he may be able to get back in this game as he rebuilds that hatchery.
Yeah, and you know the one thing that is keeping Savior in this game, Savior, and I'm gonna give you a fresh count on this now as the science vessel gets taken down. Savior has used a total of 12 scourges. Savior has used, and I want to stress this so that everyone's clear on this. Savior has used 12 scourges, and he's killed 4 science vessels and 2 dropships. He has not wasted a single scourge in the entire game. We see Zerg players go an entire match without able to land a scourge hit on their opponents, and Savior, when he's close to his peak, that's what he does. His scourge play is impeccable, and that was the one feature that Jadon was lacking in his game against Flash. Flash just didn't allow him to use the scourges. Perhaps Flash was a better Terran player than Really, but that is the real key that has really kept Savior in this game. The fact that he's killed 4 science vessels and 2 dropships. Otherwise, Really would have been in a much stronger position. And it looks like now Savior is counting at Really's natural expo, realizing that he can't be playing defense the whole time with masses of Ultralists. And he's also got Ultralists to go up against Sea.Really's Medic and Marine Force. But these Ultralists are getting cut down by Really, because Savior really needs to get a plague or a swarm over those Medic and Marines, and he wasn't able to do that, and I think he might have actually lost his Defiler there as well. So Sea.Really now attacking, and Savior did indeed lose his Defilers, and he's also using D-Matrix on the Marines, but Savior with Zerglings coming in to support those Ultralists against Sea.Really's Medic and Marines, and Savior might just be able to hold his defense down at the 12 o'clock position base. Sea.Really actually is going to take down Savior's units there, but Savior is meanwhile wreaking havoc in Sea.Really's base as well. He's continuing to send Ultralists down, and both players just focusing on the offensive against each other. Savior meanwhile has rebuilt his expansion at the 11 o'clock position. Sea.Really's Medic and Marine group has killed off Savior's Ultralists, but Savior continued, and he's also killed off the expansion. Savior loses another base to Sea.Really, but he's, he hasn't, it was a sunken, it was the death, it was the crater of a sunken that was left at the 12 o'clock base, and I thought that was the crater of the hatchery, but actually it was just a sunken. But Savior, with reinforcements arriving, holds his base. Meanwhile, his Ultralists are killing Sea.Really's Marines as they pop out, so Sea.Really is not able to reinforce, and looks like Savior is actually now going to be able to take this game, because he's immediately sent his main force down to Sea.Really's main, and Savior sent his main force to the 3 o'clock expansion. There is a bunker there, but the Zerglings are now up along with Ultralists, and that expansion is going to go down. The Marines have gone down. Savior's managed to lose his Ultralisk in the process as well, but now he's got an Ultralisk and 3 Zerglings in Sea.Really's expansion. Savior's already done massive damage to Sea.Really's natural expo, and now he's just wreaking havoc on Sea.Really's 9 o'clock expo while continuing to send units into Sea.Really's main as well. He's got Scourges there, and he's going to yet again take out more science vessels, and Sea.Really loses another pair of science vessels to some brilliant Scourge play by Savior. Savior with Zerglings, and Sea.Really GG's. Savior, out of nowhere, pulls out the killing blow, and despite taking punches through his body throughout the game, delivers the final knockout punch. It doesn't matter how many punches you land, it just matters if you land that one hard knockout blow, and that's what Savior was able to do, pulling out a brilliant victory when it looked like he was under the cosh. GG.
I'm so glad I had you commentating all that. That was great. I was just listening to it go, and I cannot believe that Savior just pulled that off. Brilliant defense, brilliant offense. A great offense is a great defense, and he manages to take out both expansions and the main base all at the same time. And look at Really cannot believe that he let that game slip through his fingertips. He had it in his hands, but Savior just turned to sand and went right through his fingertips and just bent, as you said, the pendulum back in his direction and managed to pull out a victory. So now we get to see Savior play again in the next match. So why don't we just get right to it, because that is certainly guaranteed to be another epic match.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and I do apologize to Rise for taking over at the end there. I just couldn't stop myself in the middle of the action.
That was awesome.
Great game of StarCraft. Really is impressive, though. Really is impressive.
Yeah, I was surprised. He did a pretty good job of really. I thought for a few minutes there that Savior was in a lot of trouble and in danger of losing the game, but just against Savior with superior tactics and great unit composition and upgrades. I mean, he had everything that I didn't realize going in his favor to manage to take the game away from him. Brilliant job.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that map was hugely difficult for Zerg to play on. Just the amount of places that they had to defend simultaneously, and the ease with which the Terran could affect attacks. So I think really played a great game of StarCraft, no doubt, but he was aided a lot by the map.
Awesome. GG, let's go to the next one.